there, I'm Charlotte, the Gulf Coast Granny, and today I am participating in my first open collaboration. And I got this from a channel that I watch called Flavors and Textures, and the idea is to watch a YouTuber who cooks, recreate the recipe, and hashtag it with "I made that recipe." She's going to put that in her playlist, and I think it's a really great idea because it gets everybody out there, you know what I mean? So, I am making a super easy recipe today. It's Hibiscus Simple Syrup. See, I told you it was easy. It has the word simple in the name. I got this recipe from a channel I absolutely adore. It's a newer channel. Her name is Molly, and she is Minnie Acres Farm. So if you have not seen her channel, please go check it out. She cooks and she gardens, and she has a ton of rescue animals at her place. And I just love to watch everything that she posts. Oh, and let me say this. She made a lot more than I'm going to make. I am making just enough to fill up this little tiny half-pint jar. She made enough to fill out 3 or 4 jars. So I had to adjust the recipe. But a basic simple syrup recipe is just a 1-to-1 ratio of water and sugar. And what I'm going to do is add this dried sorrel, which is also hibiscus, and it's from a plant that produces a calyx, not a flower, but it's called a calyx, and inside of that calyx is a seed, and you use the calyx, the outside of it, they dry it, and they make this. Now hers were fresh. She has a roselle plant, and this is also called roselle. Roselle, hibiscus, and sorrel. Any of those names means the same thing. But hers were fresh because she has a roselle tree in her backyard, or bush, and she harvested them herself. But I had to buy dried because I don't have a roselle bush in my backyard. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 1 cup of water to this pot right here. We're also going to add 1 cup of sugar. We're going to put our burner on a medium-high heat. I'm going to whisk this around so that the sugar can dissolve. And then I'm going to add just about a 1/2 cup of this hibiscus leaves, calyxes. We're going to bring it to a boil. And let me tell you something. That hibiscus makes the most beautiful colored water I think I've ever seen. It's a deep, deep, dark pink, magenta, sometimes burgundy, depending on how much you use. I love tea. I love sweet tea. I drink iced tea all day long. And the reason I'm making this recipe is because I'm going to add it to my tea. However, this can be used in cocktails, and they use it a lot for that. It can also be used as a pancake syrup. You can even use it to flavor ice cream. Now this syrup is a little thinner than what a Mrs. Butterworth's type syrup. It's more of a maple syrup consistency once you finish boiling it. And that also all depends on how long you boil it. But we're going to let this boil. I'm going to let it cool off a little bit, and then I'm going to strain it into my jar. Now let's test this and see if it's finished. And the way you know that it's finished is the syrup will start sticking to your spoon. It is not quite done. Yeah, it needs a couple of more minutes. You know, I just thought of another great use for this hibiscus syrup. If you continue to boil it longer, you can make rock candy out of it. I would definitely recommend straining out the calyxes first and then let it continue to boil. But rock candy is just basically sugar and water and powdered sugar and a flavoring. And I really think this would make an excellent rock candy for Christmas. There, you can see the spoon has a little bit of a pink tint. It's coated and it's done. Set this over here. Ideally, I would let this cool off first, but I want it in that jar. This jar is warm. I just ran it under some hot water for 2 or 3 minutes. And I'm going to stand back, because if this lands on my skin, it's going to be like napalm. And there you have it. Now, I filled this all the way up to the top because I'm only going to stick it in the refrigerator. It will not last long enough to go bad in my refrigerator, this little amount. However, if you wanted to can this, and you can, you would fill it up and give it about a 1/2 inch head space. So there's your Hibiscus Simple Syrup recipe from Minnie Acres Farms. I want to thank Flavors and Textures for letting everybody know about this open collaboration. And I'd also like to strongly encourage you to go visit both channels, Flavors and Textures and Minnie Acres Farm. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you again real soon, all right?